show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here.
Amazing.
Now, Gary, just take us into exactly what it is that you do. Tell us a little bit about Mechanics for Business, rather.
So the concept behind Mechanics for Business is to help small and medium-sized companies in South Africa to really understand what the problems in their business are and how to put the basics in place so that they can grow sustainably.
And of course, when it comes to family business, we find ourselves actually focusing on the day-to-day running as in thinking about the bigger picture. Do you know maybe where people can sometimes get a little bit lost, or maybe can sometimes just get used to the day-to-day surviving instead of actually thriving and wanting to achieve more for their businesses?
Absolutely. Nowadays, because it's such a hustle, it's every day looking to pay the bills, make ends meet, and get to the month end. A lot of people get so involved in the business that they don't have the opportunity to work on the business. And the problem with that is because the business then only really functions when the owner is in the business. There's no time to look at the long-term planning, and also it doesn't allow the business to really create exit value. Of course, that's really what most business owners want. At some time in the future, they want to retire, they want to be able to sell the business on. So there must be some exit value of the business. But if the business only functions when the owner's there, that exit value is limited.
100%.
So it's very important to step back, put the systems in place so that you can focus working on the business while the people around you are working in the business for you.
Let's just dive into some of those systems that you can put in place, because you've mentioned now there's in the business and there's on the business. So maybe let's just differentiate between those two for our viewers out there.
Absolutely. So looking at on the business, that would really be your strategic planning. So what you want to do is have a look at what is your vision for the business. Where do you want to be in the future compared to where you are today? And then, when do you want to be there?
Yes.
And most importantly, what are the steps you need to put in place to get there?
Okay.
So those steps would come with milestones, so that you can actually monitor your progress along the way, and also make adjustments, because in the old days, a strategic plan used to be a 5-year plan. Once a year, you take it off the shelf, dust it off, and have a look at it. Not anymore.
Okay.
The world changes and moves too quickly nowadays. You actually need to have a look at your strategy on a continual basis and make those continual adjustments along the way.
And I was actually going to get into that and ask, how do we then figure out as a business how we want to grow? Maybe let's say we are in a position where we're stuck, and like most of us at the beginning of the year, we make those goals, and then now it's August, and I forgot all of my goals. So how do I continue to make sure that I'm actually making those changes so that I see the difference that I want in my business, versus me being overwhelmed and saying, you know what, since I'm not seeing the difference, might as well just survive and run in the day-to-day.
So the other part, we spoke about strategy, which you're working on the business. How you get to working in the business, which is putting your systems and your processes in place. So your systems would be something, for example, your customers. How do you market to your customers? How do you onboard your customers? How do you serve your customers at that time? And how do you provide sort of post-sales service to your customers? So that would be your system. Within those systems, there's lots of different processes. And you need to document those.
Okay.
Because that way, the knowledge is institutionalized. Often businesses operate on a day-to-day basis, and then what happens is somebody leaves, somebody gets sick, and all of a sudden everyone's running around not knowing what to do.
It almost falls apart.
It falls apart because your processes are documented. So, and also, if you are lucky enough, all of a sudden your business gets one large order. If you don't have a system in place, you don't have your processes in place, you're not going to be able to accommodate that sudden influx in orders. So you need to put that in place so that in the business is in place. And again, then to answer your question in more detail, you need to take time out to have a look at your strategy and your progress. A lot of businesses every month they will sit and look at their financial performance. That's history. It's happened. Your strategy is going forward. It's as equally important as your history. And you need to put that time in place to step back and reflect on your business and make whatever adjustments is needed. And the important thing is often it's as important to know what you must throw out as what you must keep. A lot of people, because it's there, it's like, if I throw it out, it looks like I failed, I've made a mistake. No, you need to know when to call time on something that's not working.
100%. And I mean, Cape Town is filled with a lot of family businesses. And I mean, we've seen over the couple of years that, some family businesses, they just end up failing. And for you as an expert, I'd just like to know to maybe just let us know, what are those, common mistakes that small businesses are making? I mean, you have let down that there's a lot of systems that need to be, put into check, but there are other mistakes that are also, you know, being made currently. So maybe what are those like small changes that local businesses who are listening to you right now, listening to the things that you are saying and realizing, oh, I don't have these systems in place for my business here. So how can they make those tiny changes just so that they can have a plan going forward?
Well, I think the first thing, you know, if the person does not know how to put it in place, then take advice. You know, one doesn't need to go to a big consultancy firm to take advice. There are very small boutique companies that can, of experienced people that can help you put those systems in place.
Right.
That can give you the advice. You know, a lot of people going into business don't necessarily have the business acumen to actually understand the nuances. And one of the big reasons businesses fail or run into difficulty is cash. You know, cash flow management is critically important. If you don't have the ability or the knowledge to manage that, take advice. Because that's what keeps your business going. You can have a profitable business on paper, but the business can fail because your cash is not there to keep growing, to keep the business open.
And so many small businesses out there, businesses in general, that are watching saying, I need to get a hold of you. Where can we find you, sir, to use your services?
Mechanicsofbusiness.org. That's the easiest way. Just go onto the web, open up the web page, and there is a form there to make connection.
Awesome, Gary. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for sharing your insights. Of course, make sure that you hit Gary up if your business needs help.